Welcome back, everybody. It's
We're
us again.
the horror guys.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian.
We're here to talk about horror movies and stuff.
We got a bunch of them for you this time.
We do, yeah. This is episode 67 now.
It's a prime number, you know.
Works for me.
And we got some prime movies for you. This week we'll be discussing some more great and ancient modern horror. We'll begin with a really old Night of Terror from 1933. Open the Casket on Dracula, Prince of Darkness from 1966, as well as two more indie films, Agramon's Gate and Theater of Terror from 2019. We'll also have two short films, The Earl King from 2020 and Stucco, also from 2020.
I just watched Stucco moments ago.
We shorted you a short last week, so we doubled up on shorts this week. Oh, that's a lot to talk about.
We should get started, eh?
Here we go.
So, Bela Lugosi, Night of Terror, 1933, black and white.
Did you like it?
Yeah, overall I kind of did.
Yeah, overall, it was all right.
It was kind of brisk moving and kind of entertaining.
That's the thing about these old Universals that run for like an hour and 5 minutes. They don't waste a lot of time. Unlike, It Part 2, that we're still not over.
And so was Bela Lugosi kind of brown-faced in this, but not really?
He was Indian, from India, and so was the woman.
That's what I thought. But, kind of generically.
I don't think he was actually wearing brown face, but the turban and the accent. Yeah, he was supposed to be an Indian.
Yeah,
from India.
Yeah.
All right, so Night of Terror, 1933, directed by Benjamin Stoloff. Written by Beatrice Vann and William Jacobs. Stars Bela Lugosi, Wallace Ford, Sally Blaine. 1 hour, 5 minutes. Amazon link in the show notes.
It's got a cool poster.
These all have cool posters.
Yeah.
With Bela Dracula Lugosi.
Kind of a minor role, but he got big billing in it.
Wasn't as bad as some of those Karloff roles.
Well, it really wasn't a minor. I mean, he had lines and everything.
Yeah, we've seen both Karloff and Lugosi in some really tiny roles getting top billing.
And this was a decent-sized role.
This was not that bad.
Yeah.
All right.
What happens in this one?
Well, we begin with an old woman with a crystal ball. And on the crystal ball, I was expecting to have an inner sanctum, but this is long before that.
Mm-hmm.
We see the characters' faces and names.
She was the credit lady.
Yeah, the credit
gypsy.
Yeah, she's just there. She got this crystal ball. She shows you the crystal ball, and on it you can see their faces, and they're all kind of distorted because it's in a ball. Mm-hmm. And not the actors' names like normal credits, the character name, which was just kind of weird.
A little bit.
It was like reverse credits.
Yeah.
And the crystal ball lady never appeared again. She's just there. We then cut to a deformed-looking man watching two lovers making out in a convertible, and then he kills them both.
He's the maniac.
With a capital M.
Mm-hmm.
We're told that the killer always leaves newspaper clippings on the body, and he only kills after sundown. 12 have died so far.
Who will be next?
Yeah, we see the maniac climbing the walls over at Pinehurst Manor. He crawls in through a window and spots Professor Arthur Hornsby working there. There's a knock on Hornsby's door, and the maniac sneaks back out through a window. He noped right out of there.
Yep, he did.
Arthur is planning to allow himself to be buried alive as a publicity stunt for his new experiment.
He's a scientist,
He can live without breathing when he takes his special medicine.
The suspended animation. Yeah.
Degar comes through the door, warning that the newspaper says the maniac has killed again, close to the house. Which is a pretty good trick, because the maniac was just close to the house. He came inside the house, and they got it in the newspaper already.
That's a fast-acting newspaper.
Text messaging ain't that fast. Tom and Mary drive home from the movie. Mary is engaged to Arthur, and Tom has eyes only for Mary. Totally inappropriate.
And I didn't understand that. She's engaged to the guy. Why is she on a date with this guy?
I don't think it was technically a date from her point of view. It was definitely a date from his point of view.
A movie out with her with her flat-chested boyfriend, or flat-chested girlfriend, or whatever. Yeah.
All right.
Well, he didn't think it was just a movie with a friend.
No, he has more interest than that.
Yeah.
The maniac then kills the gravedigger who's digging Hornsby's grave in the backyard. Nobody ever finds that body. Maybe that was the body in the closet later.
Oh. Yeah.
We never did figure out who that was. I'll bet that was the gravedigger.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
That's my story.
Yeah.
Mary comes in, and Degar warns her as well. That night, Mary wakes up and sees the maniac staring into her window. Richard then sneaks into the professor's laboratory and starts snooping around, but someone comes in and kills him. As the police investigate, they find still another victim stuck in a closet somewhere. And that's probably the gravedigger.
Yes. Yeah.
We learn that Richard left a kind of will that transfers all his assets to the survivors. Very soon, there are fewer and fewer survivors. Arthur plans to go ahead with his buried alive experiment. Degar gets the injection ready, and before long, Arthur is buried, apparently dead, but only for 8 hours.
And then he'll be dug up and given the antidote.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sika is meditating and prophesies bad things.
They're a couple.
Sika and Degar, yeah. And they're both allegedly from India.
And Sika's just a doomsayer. She's a...
Well, she didn't have a happy thing to say in the entire film.
Pretty much just doom. You're all going to die.
You're all gonna die. Yeah.
We're all doomed. Doomed, I say. Death is near.
Naturally, Sika convinces all the scientists to sit down for a seance. And how you convince scientists to do that, I don't know. But she dies in the middle of the ritual. The police arrest Degar. Degar gives the cop a funny cigarette and sneaks out while the cop sleeps it off.
Yeah, I want to know what was in that cigarette.
Some secret Indian spice.
Yeah, spice.
Yeah, spice.
Uh-huh.
The maniac grabs Mary from inside a secret door. They follow the screams and shoot the maniac. That was easy.
It was kind of.
They then dig up Arthur and find nothing in the coffin. Degar comes up with Arthur in tow. Turns out, Arthur set the whole thing up to commit murder with himself buried in the ground as the perfect alibi. The maniac, then after everybody leaves, the maniac gets up and threatens to climb into the bedroom of anyone who tells how this film ended and haunt them forever.
We just told how... yeah. It was kind of a fifth wall thing. He was talking right to the audience.
Yeah.
So then, the couple that were not dating, they end up together because
where's she going to go when her fiance is going to the chair?
Might as well go to the newspaper guy.
So the pushy newspaper man wins out in the end.
Yep. The end. Happy end.
And the girl gets to marry somebody, and that's all they cared about in the 40s. I got to get married soon.
There was a futuristic movie too because it was set in the 40s, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think so. Wasn't set in 1933. I don't know. There was something about that. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't pick that up. It's not very science fiction-y other than the...
Well, it's 1933 movie, but
yeah,
you keep saying 40s. So you must have picked up on that.
I said 40s?
You said 40s. Yeah. See, I even see in your notes where it says you got 40s racist stereotypes galore.
Oh, yeah.
30s.
30s
stereotypes. 30s stereotypes.
They're even worse stereotypes. Okay, so this one's got 1930s racist stereotypes galore. Degar and Sika are supposed to be from India, and Martin, the African-American chauffeur, does the classic scared black man routine so common in old films.
Oh, he was.
What you talking about?
He was straight off of vaudeville.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
like, the big eyes.
Oh, yeah, very stereotypical for the
over and over
for that humor of the time. Yeah, how they portrayed. And he was one of the ones in the will too, and. There kept being comedic references to, we're going to do this for the, something for the rest of your life. And think, I want out of the will. Can I be out of the will? As people are getting bumped off.
Also, Tom's pursuit of Mary is obnoxious and goes on for way too long. The film moves fast, but it's not really clear what's really happening until the end, although I had a suspicion. And overall, it's pretty good, but also kind of dated.
Very dated, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even if we hadn't spoiled it for you, you probably would have had a pretty good guess what was happening.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. It's not,
But overall, I recommend it. It was certainly not on the lower part of the
definitely
Universals.
The upper part. Yeah.
It's not one you hear much about, though.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Very generic name, House of Horrors.
Probably because of the stereotypes and stuff, and being dated.
I don't know. Back when we were young and watching TV, I don't know that they cared so much about the stereotypes, keeping it off TV. Song of the
South was on TV when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember seeing that once.
And you can't find that for anywhere now.
Yeah. So. That's Disney's choice, though. That's not the public deciding that, it's just too bad to watch.
It's both.
Yeah. You can buy this movie, so it's not like it's, banned or anything.
Right.
It's just not one of the big sellers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of banned and big sellers, and look, it's Dracula, Prince of Darkness.
It's Christopher Lee again.
1966.
No,
I've already lost track if this is the second, third, or fourth Dracula movie.
How could he possibly be back again? In the last Dracula movie, he was literally turned to dust in the sun.
Right. We see at the end. Mm-hmm. We see at the end of the Peter Cushing pulling the curtain down, him turning to dust. So this would be the official second movie.
And I said at the end of the movie, see, that's the end. We'll never see Dracula again. He's done forever.
Yeah. Never see him again.
And yet, here he's back.
Brought to you by director Terence Fisher. Written by Jimmy Sangster and Anthony Hines. These three do just about all the Hammer horror films. Stars Christopher Lee, Barbara Shelley, and Andrew Keir. Hour and 30 minutes. The world's most evil vampire lives again. He seeks
human victims.
Oh, I see. It's one of those don't open dead insides.
Yeah. Don't read it across. Read it down and then down again.
The world's most evil vampire seeks human lives again. Victims to satisfy his thirst for blood. In the movie poster.
Yeah, if you read it wrong. Yeah.
So did you like it?
It was okay. I liked parts of it. I liked some of it. It was not my favorite.
It has to have the lamest Dracula death in the end of any of them.
Yep.
But getting there was relatively entertaining and somewhat even logical.
How they brought him back was good.
That's how I'd do it.
Gushy and bloody.
That's how I'd bring a vampire back.
Yeah, they had to tone that down to for the ratings. I understand the gore of how they bring him back.
The gushing blood was okay. It's just the regenerating body was too much.
No, I guess it was more graphic how they cut him open to get the blood.
Okay.
Yeah, they toned it down a bit. Yeah.
Well, we begin with a recap of the first Hammer Dracula film with Peter Cushing's Van Helsing pulling down the curtain and killing Dracula with sunshine.
Dust.
The credits roll.
Not just dust, the dust blows away.
That's the part I object to.
I guess
the dust is gone. It blew away.
The butler, has a little whisk broom and collects it up again.
Dracula's dust devil. Well, 10 years later, we cut to a funeral procession out in the woods. It's a dead girl, and one member of the funeral party has a stake and mallet. Her mother begs them not to stake her, but they insist on proceeding. Father Sandor rides up shooting his gun and runs off the priest and the men with the stake. He says he's sure she's not a vampire, and he orders them away. And this scene exists just to show us what a badass Father Sandor is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's a tough guy.
There might be some bit of irony there for someone, who might be atheist, because he says, superstitious nonsense. He's a priest, for crying out loud.
They make their living on superstitious
nonsense? Their
nonsense?
Superstitious nonsense is nonsense, but his is not.
Send emails to him.
Send hate mail my direction. I just, when he said that, it struck me as, superstitious nonsense. Huh?
Oh, okay.
It's all in the eye of the beholder, I guess.
If I saw undead vampires, that would kind of like
convince you.
You would,
that this stuff was real.
If supernatural is proven to be real, then you go open the door to all kinds of things.
Well, that's the trouble. If some of it's real, then all of it's real, isn't it?
All of it could be real. You can't just eliminate everything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the problem with vampires. If they can come back from the dead, then what about ghosts? What about werewolves? It could all be real.
Could all be real.
That's why the government keeps the vampire secret. They do not want us to open that door.
That's right.
4 wealthy travelers come to town, and they buy drinks for everyone in the pub a few times. Father Sandor comes in and gets on everyone's case about their vampire superstitions.
There's garlic hanging around.
Lots of garlic.
They've got the windows warded, and
Well, he warns the young people not to go to Carlsbad. He's very serious about his warning. He especially warns them not to go to the castle. And they look at the map and say, "What castle? There's no castle." He says, "Don't go to the castle."
They blotted it out of existence.
Rule number 1. Don't go to the
castle. So what do?
Well, the next day, the coachman also refuses to take them all the way to Carlsbad. Naturally, he drops them off in front of the castle. Just as they decide not to actually go to the castle, a carriage comes out of the castle. They stop the carriage, and it takes them to the castle. They find one servant named Clove there, and everything appears to have been prepared for their arrival. Helen insists that everything about their situation is evil, but none of the others think anything is wrong. She really does kind of seem hysterical for no reason. There's really nothing creepy going on now.
No, it's a beautiful place.
I mean, it's a Dracula movie. We know she's right. We know that. But there's no reason for it.
Yeah, no appearance. No nothing. Clove seems a little weird, but, you know.
He lives in that big old castle alone. He would be.
Yeah.
Well, Alan spots Clove dragging a chest down the hallway and follows him downstairs, leaving Helen alone in a room.
Bad move.
Alan finds an altar and what looks like Dracula's clothes laying on a bench nearby. Alan sees that the altar is labeled as Dracula's tomb. Clove stabs Alan in the back and then hangs his body above Dracula's tomb.
From the ankles and slits his throat.
Yeah, like a pig.
Gushing the blood.
Clove dumps Dracula's ashes in the tomb and then cuts Alan's throat. Alan's blood revives Dracula, who regenerates as we watch.
Not with clothes, though. This time, he had to get dressed.
Yeah, we don't get the whole picture.
We don't really see that. We don't see him materialize naked. But in past ones, you know, he goes from skeleton to fully clothed.
John Carradine,
John Carradine.
House of Frankenstein.
And this one is at least it's a little more realistic that way.
Yeah, the clothes don't come back.
The clothes aren't part of him. Yeah.
Although when he turned to dust in the first movie, his clothes disappeared too. There were no clothes laying there. Well, Clove brings Helen downstairs and Dracula bites her. In the morning, Charles and Diana wake up to find that they are alone. Diana hides in the woodsman's shed while Charles goes back to the castle for some unclear reason. Clove comes to pick up Diana, and she goes with him back to the castle as well. They just keep going to the castle. Meanwhile, Charles finds Alan's body, and since it just got dark right that second, Dracula wakes up.
Hi there. Except he doesn't say hi there.
No, he's strangely quiet.
Anything? No.
Not a word. Not a word in the entire film.
And the stories and the trivia and information about it are conflicting. He says, Christopher Lee, that the dialogue was so horrible that he chose to just do it silently.
Yeah, he refused to use those horrible dialogue lines.
Those involved with the play or the movie say, no, we wrote it that way. We did that on purpose.
Somehow or another, they had to pay him less with no words, so they gave him no words.
Who's right? Who's telling the truth?
Well, we're not going to ever find out now.
We don't know now. Yeah.
So Vampire Helen goes after Diana, but Dracula hisses and grabs her.
Yeah, he does hiss. He doesn't have any words, but he's got sounds. He makes noises.
Overdubbed.
Yeah.
Helen then goes after Charles, but Dracula grabs him first. They hold off the two vampires with crosses. They run out, grab Clove's carriage, and ride off. The carriage crashes, and Charles carries Diana through the woods until they cross Father Sandor and his monastery. Sandor figures out everything and explains it all to Charles. He takes Charles to meet Ludwig, a funny lunatic who eats flies. Sandor explains that a vampire cannot enter a building unless invited. We then immediately cut to Mad Ludwig inviting Dracula in.
Come in.
They catch Helen and stake her. Ludwig leads Diana into a locked room with Dracula. Dracula hypnotizes her. He cuts himself and almost gets Diana to lick the blood off, but Charles breaks in, and Dracula runs off with Diana. It's nearly morning, so Clove loads Dracula and Diana into twin coffins and drives back to the castle in his carriage. Well, they all run Clove off the road, and they shoot him dead. The horses run on uncontrolled and spill their cargo right outside the castle. Dracula's coffin slides across the frozen, icy moat. He goes out and Sandor shoots the ice.
Yeah, because suddenly, I mean, was there any indication before then that it was cold? Because that actually took me a minute to figure out.
On all the scenes where they showed them walking around outside the castle, there was snow on the ground. Out in the woods with the woodsman cabin.
Okay.
No,
not really. I missed the snow, yeah. Because they were on the very fake-looking ice on the moat. And it took, I didn't even realize they were on the moat, that it was frozen, that it was ice they were standing on. Because it looked like gray cardboard. And there, no breath or anything, or not really bundled up like it's cold, chilly maybe.
Well, maybe it wasn't that cold. The ice did break.
I don't know. Anyway,
it had been cold.
Anyway, it was lame.
Okay, so Draculin's coffin slides across the frozen icy moat. He gets out. Sandor shoots the ice, creating a hole that swallows up Dracula forever.
Because they throw that in earlier that he can be killed by running water.
Which a moat is generally just a stagnant pond.
It's
not really running.
Not running water. And where'd this suddenly come from?
And that's not one you've ever seen in any other film.
Yeah.
Dracula and running water.
Well, anyway, now Dracula's gone. We'll never see him again.
Yeah, never see Dracula again.
Yeah, he's done.
Well, the travelers were warned about Carlsbad and the castle, but they wound up there anyway. Normally, this would be attributed to stupidity and plot points, but it's all actually kind of logical and not really unreasonable for the circumstances.
Yeah.
They never decided, hey, let's be stupid and go to the castle. It just sort of happened.
Mm-hmm.
They're
drawn there. Clove conspires and
and the horses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There are long periods and entire scenes with no dialogue at all. Dracula himself never says a word in the entire film, and this is probably the lamest Dracula death ever filmed, but overall the movie is really one of the better ones, despite having no dialogue from Dracula. The characters and plot are mostly logical, and it is all very entertaining to watch. Until the last minute. Yeah. Well, I guess they could have run up and staked him. It's still only a 1-minute scene, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Did you watch any short films?
Yeah, about 10 minutes ago.
I
watched one called Stucco.
Stucco from 2020.
2020.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
unusual because it's got a lot of people in it. Directed and written by Janina Gavankar and Russo Schelling. Stars Janina Gavankar, Michael Ealy, Emmy River Lampum, and Deborah Messing. And also Colton Haynes, Michael Ealy, Deborah Messing, Deborah Ann Woll, Rutina Wesley, and Aisha Tyler. And lots of names from other TV shows. And yet you didn't see any of them.
There's only one actor. Yeah. That paradox of,
Yeah, you'd see people on the TV and on the computer.
On the screen, and their voices, and other side of the wall. And,
So this one is runtime 17 minutes, 28 seconds. YouTube link in the show notes. Well, there's a girl named Jay, and she's having a bad day in her new home. She's cut herself, spilled her dinner all over the floor, and then ruined the carpet. After ordering dinner, she goes to hang up a picture on the wall and bangs a hole right in the wall.
Boom.
Oops.
Oopsie.
Well, she calls the realtor and asks for plans to the house, wondering what's on the other side of the hole. She goes to bed, but then she dreams about the hole in the wall.
Best dream sequence ever.
It's something. It's something. She goes to the...
It involves a tongue.
Yeah,
you'll see what we mean when you watch this.
We learn that she's agoraphobic, afraid to open the door or leave the house. That night, she has a sexy dream about the hole in the wall. The next day, her ex-boyfriend pounds on the door in anger. Then the hole starts to get a little bigger in each scene.
Yeah, noises coming from it and general creepiness. Yeah.
Once again, we have a short film that is dark for no real reason.
Well, she was shut in and had all the blinds drawn.
I do that too, but I turn the lights on. Modern apartments are not that dark all the time, and we have no reason to believe that the place is evil or haunted. So why is it all so dark?
It's an old house.
Because video filters, that's why.
It's a house, not an apartment.
Okay, the house is too dark.
It is a little dark.
Still, it's very good.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. The long tongue is really creepy, and I have to wonder how they did that. It didn't look mechanical. It couldn't be a real person's tongue.
No.
The thing at the end is also really awesome.
I think it was a tongue puppet. An animatronic tongue.
The thing at the end is really awesome, and I would have liked to have seen more of that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the backstory here, but they have several well-known actors in this, including Janina Gavankar, who's been in several things, Colton Haynes, Michael Ealy, Deborah Messing, Deborah Ann Wall, Rutina Wesley, and Aisha Tyler. If these people got paid, this is an expensive one to make.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a friend project or something. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was really good.
Yes, excellent. You should check this one out.
Still not entirely sure what happened there at the end, but I don't think she was either.
I kind of am, but I'm not going to spoil it.
Alrighty. Which takes us to our next short of the week. And this is one called The Earl King, E-R-L King, 2020. And this is a short directed by Callum Windsor, written by Marisol Suarez, stars Louise Elliker, Louis Hyman, and Simon Victor. 12 minutes, 54 seconds. Link in the usual place. Did you like this one?
Not as much. I liked it.
It was good.
Yeah. But not as good.
Again, I'm not quite sure what happened at the end.
And there's another thing I'm not sure about, too.
A boy, Alfie,
question mark,
and his father are in an auto accident. Later on, we see the boy talking to the father, but no one else can see the father. Clearly, the father died in the accident, and now he's some kind of a ghost. The boy and his mother then go to a Christmas festival, and the boy runs off.
And she does mention her son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfie, yeah, she goes up to one of the the shopkeepers and said, "Have you seen my son? He just ran off." Mm-hmm. So Alfie then finds a strange creature in the woods, but his mother gets him first. She buys him the Nutcracker doll, and they take it home. The Nutcracker, on the other hand, seems to have its own ideas about that. Alfie's mother is pretty unhappy as well, and it seems that maybe the father wasn't such a great man after all.
Maybe
and
not.
That's as far as I'm going to go.
Yep, that's as far as we should go.
It's
no
well,
spoilers.
It's well acted and suspenseful, and it's not clear until the end where it was going. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'm still not completely sure what happened, but I keep thinking about the possible scenarios in my mind, so that makes it a pretty successful film in my book.
When you keep thinking about it afterwards.
Oh, it could have been this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it was that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the film was nearly half over before I decided that Alfie was actually a boy. I've never seen a little boy with hair that long. And notwithstanding that, the film was very good and definitely worth 13 minutes of your time. And you said something else was bothering you?
The boy, girl. Boy, he was feminine looking. I'll just throw that out there. You sure that's a boy?
Louise Elliker, which has to be the mother.
Long hair, which is unusual for, but adult men, are more commonly long-haired like that. I don't know, boys don't, but yeah, it was long girl hair, and the way he moved and talked and...
If she had told the shopkeeper that my daughter just ran away, we would never have thought twice.
It was confusing. Enough to be confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, wait, what? Then I had to go back and rewrite all my review because I had girl in there to begin with.
But it was good.
Yeah. If you just ignore that, maybe that's even part of the story. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some sort of imaginary child of some kind or something. Yeah.
Anyway, watch and judge for yourself.
Yeah. Speaking of watching and judging for yourself, now we've got 2 new indie films. I kind of like both of them.
Mm-hmm.
First, we have Agramon's Gate from 2019, directed by Harley Wallen, written by Harley Wallen, starring Harley Wallen, and Lorette Landon, Calhoun Conan.
Harley Wallen had something to do with this movie, eh?
Yeah, we've seen a few movies that he was pretty heavily involved with.
Yeah.
1 hour and 50 minutes. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, this was... We've seen some of his other stuff, and I think this is the best.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so a group of friends get together for a party, and they have a special guest, Vesna the Psychic Woman. She's a medium with a funky Cajun accent.
Yeah, accent was. Yeah, I thought she was kind of a hoot, but it was kind of funky.
Oh, it was. There were two Cajun characters, and it's just the worst Cajun accent I've ever heard.
Well, I'm not sure.
They should have just left them be.
I'm not sure if it was bad or just inconsistent. I don't know. It was funky. Funky's a good way to put it. It wasn't bad.
You know, if it was just her, I'd say she was some Midwesterner who's pretending to be Cajun.
No,
they were mysterious.
They were partners.
But he was that way too, so clearly it was supposed to be real.
Yeah. Funky accents.
Yeah.
But
funky accents.
Don't hold it against them.
Yeah. Well, she takes the guests in one at a time and does her thing for them. Richie explains that it's all a scam. They read your body language and tell you what you want to hear. The others literally dare him to take a turn. Finally, the whole group goes in for a seance to call up dead relatives. Someone's grandma says hello, and then Richie's father speaks through her.
And that's triggering.
There's a flash, and then they all freak out. This party is over. Richie's father was crazy, we're told, and not the funny kind of crazy. And credits roll.
The credits were...
There's a lot to this.
Credits were very good.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I like the credits.
Yeah, the opening credits, yeah. A lot of indie films, the credits tend to be a real weak point. It's like a slideshow of text, and not a very original font even, and yeah, this was especially noteworthy on the credits.
Chroma key PowerPoint.
Yeah,
not this one. It looked good.
Yeah.
So Cassidy tells her friend the story. Richie's dad tried to kill his mom, but Richie killed him instead. Since then, his mother has been institutionalized. The next day, Zesna is meditating and some stuff starts flying around the room, which isn't supposed to happen.
Spirit has tagged along to her house.
Yeah. She calls her friend Zeb to come over and check it out. Weird stuff starts happening to Richie at home. Zesna tells Zeb what happened at the party, and that thing was not supposed to be able to push its way through. But she thinks it did just that.
Not good. Not good at all.
Richie decides to go visit his mom, and Cassidy warns him that the last time he visited her, he was messed up for days. He explains that he thinks his father has come back, but the mother is not much help.
No, she's
out there.
She's whacked. Yeah.
Zeb comes over to the house and does a reading. He thinks it's Agramon, one of the very worst demons. He tells them that they'll all have to fight back, and they can do it if they stand strong. But the more afraid you get, the stronger it gets.
And how does he put it? Agramon is the left hand of the devil, and the devil is left-handed.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised with this one.
And his makeup's good, too.
He's got this claw
something
mark.
clawed him in the past, and one of his eyes is all milked over.
I tend to think it was a werewolf.
Or,
three big claws, or an alien or something. Who knows?
Demon,
sure.
Yeah, it could be all sorts of things. We never find out.
We need a prequel.
Yeah.
Hey, Harley, get us a prequel.
Which actually is mentioned in the trivia, that's a possibility. That there was a really complex backstory.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, that a prequel involving those two characters could be a thing. Yeah.
And they can bone up on their accents. Mm-hmm. Well, we've reviewed two other Harley Wallen films here so far. Into a Dark Mind, also known as Abstruse, and Eternal Blue, both of which had some slight problems. We liked them both, but this one came out earlier than either of those, and we liked it best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
Most of the actors that we saw here went on to star in the other two newer films, but they all seem much more suited to their roles here. I'm thinking he cast for this film, and then he liked the actors so much he just recycled them in other things.
Maybe.
They were best here. Mm-hmm. Well, the acting is really very good, the story develops in an interesting way, and the pacing is really good. The two Cajun characters have truly atrocious accents, which were pretty much unnecessary and distracting. Other than the accents, the story moves along with a good pace and was otherwise very well made.
I'm not going to harsh on the accents that much.
Check out this film for a low-budget but still completely entertaining indie horror experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got to think about accents.
Yeah, yeah, you do. Yeah, this one's definitely worth the watch.
Yeah. So then our last one is a different indie film, not by Harley Wallen. And this one's called Theater of Terror from 2019.
An anthology.
Directed by Tom Ryan, written by Russell Hackett and Tom Ryan, Stars Tom Ryan. These guys just like to star in their own films.
Well, yeah.
Tom Ryan, Lauren Ranahan, Heather Britton O'Scanlan. 1 hour, 30 minutes, link in the show notes. And yeah, you said this was an anthology, and it was definitely an anthology.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, pretty darn good. Yeah. I'd say watch this one too.
I'm kind of sketchy on Dracula, Prince of Darkness, but I lean toward maybe this was the best of the bunch. Dracula's getting a little dated.
Well, I think Stucco was the best of all of them, the short film.
Okay.
That was my favorite of this. Favorite of the week for me was Stucco. This probably, I don't know. This or Agram's great. I don't know. It's kind of
unusual for a short film to come in number one.
For second place for me. I'm not sure which
all right.
I vote for second.
Yeah. Agramon was good too.
I'd say
they're all good
a tie for second.
Yeah. I think they're all tied for second. Yeah, let's be fair.
The first two we talked about are no. I don't tie those for second. Yeah.
Well, a girl named Amber has a flyer to save the old theater, and she goes to volunteer. The door opens mysteriously, and she goes inside. She meets up with Colin, who says it's too late. The Landmark Theater is now out of business. Everyone just watches films on streaming media nowadays.
It's a cool old big old theater.
Yeah, it
that
is.
They're on. Yeah.
Colin wants to show Amber around the old theater. So Amber finds a lost doll, and Colin tells her a story called The Gift.
And it's an anthology. Suddenly he's a storyteller, and then you wonder, what's Colin's story? You're wondering, is he real? Is he a ghost? Is he?
The wraparound story is always weird in these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the projector fires up, and we get our first segment.
All by itself.
Yeah. Donna, a hooker, accidentally kills a guy and takes his wallet. She goes and hides out in an antique store and has a conversation with a strange shopkeeper. She tells him a lot about happier times when she was married with a little girl.
And the shop is a little hint of
needful things.
The needful things guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he always has what you need. What you're looking for.
She starts working late at her job, and a coworker gives her a different gift, a pill that will give her more energy. Before long, she's an addict, and her husband throws her out. The shopkeeper asks, what would Donna do to see her daughter again? And she responds, anything.
That's her own guy to say that to.
The second segment is The Bookworm. Mark Yeager purchases
There's more to that. We're just not spoiling.
Oh, yeah. No spoilers on any of these.
It doesn't stop there with her saying anything.
Yeah.
More happens after that.
No spoilers on movies that are less than 20 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mark Yeager purchased a library at an auction just last week. The books are rare, special, and uncountably valuable. He goes inside and, yep, it's a library.
Yeah.
And it's all his. Would you like a library?
I would.
That'd
be nifty.
Yeah, it would be neat.
Yeah. It's funny though. The guy selling it goes on about the
how
classics
rare and valuable they are.
Valuable, and I'm sure they're. It's probably a mix. Clearly, he was looking at old books in there too. But some of the shots, you see the shelves behind him, and they're just very common.
James Patterson.
Yeah.
Not rare, not valuable.
Yeah, not entirely rare and valuable.
Yeah. So it's a full library and it's all his. He finds one book simply called Bookworm. He falls asleep while reading it, and as he sleeps, something crawls up his leg.
Huh. Yeah. We're not going to tell you more about that one.
The third segment is about a guy named Ned, and the segment is called Abducted.
I think this was my favorite of the three.
The sheriff stops by and asks if Ned has seen any of the missing college girls from a few weeks ago. There's also a missing hunter. Ned's out camping that night, and he finds out what happened to the missing people.
Mm-hmm.
And alien abductions aren't always what they appear.
Nope.
Well, Colin then tells Amber one final story called Endangered. And something in the woods kills 2 pipeline construction workers. Protesters want to save the Grey Wolf. A small group of eco-terrorists decide that they can stop the hunters and save the wolves.
Sure they can.
One of the hunters screams, and it seems there may be more than one wolf out there. They're approached by a strange old woman who offers to help them. She doesn't seem at all suspicious or creepy.
Yes, she does. Both those things.
Yeah. Then we meet her two sons, who also look completely harmless and innocent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And hilarity ensues as they go to their cabin.
And of course, after that fourth segment, we return to Amber and Colin in the old theater, and Amber realizes that she's changed since she came inside.
So it was really 5 stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were all good.
Yeah.
All 4 stories are surprisingly good. They're all paced very well, have solid stories and acting, and it all looks pretty good. This did not have much in the way of CGI. It used more practical effects, which is always nice.
Yeah.
The worm transformation and the alien visitors were all particularly good. They both would have looked really crappy as CGI.
Yeah. As
it was, they looked good.
Yeah.
There are some unexpected twists and just enough humor to make it interesting without taking itself too seriously. I strongly recommend this anthology.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So.
They were all pretty good this week.
Pretty good.
Dracula, Prince of Darkness was a little on the lame, dated side. House of Horrors was a little on the dated side.
Yeah.
But they were all good. They're all worth seeing. Which one?
Lesser.
Which one?
The first 2, the old ones.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
He's dissing on Christopher Lee. Send him the emails.
Everything he did was not great. There, I said that out loud.
Go ahead, send him some emails. Well, that's our show. Thanks for joining us. Stop in during the week at horrorguys.com to read the reviews, sign up for our email list, or to watch the videos or listen to the audios. So get ready for next week, when we'll have 4 more films. Want to see some classics? The Island of Doomed Men from 1940. I think that's Peter Lorre's big break.
You okay?
Plague of the Zombies from 1966. It's the zombie film you've never heard of. Maybe there's a reason.
Maybe.
The Amityville Murders from 2018. And Population 436 from 2006.
The only one I've seen is Population 436, which I suggested as one because I want to see it again and I want him to see it.
I have not seen it.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
I read the description.
I'm looking forward to seeing now that I know all the spoilers about it.
Is there anybody recognizable in it?
Yes, but I can't think of the main guy's name.
Well, we'll tell you next week.
Yeah, he's a big name, done tons of stuff, and I'm blanking out on his name. Yeah.
All right, sounds like a good week.
Yeah.
I'm Brian.
I'm Kevin.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You and your tiny little hands. Hey, we didn't talk for 20 minutes about the coronavirus.
Oh, we should.
I thought all podcasts talk about the coronavirus
all podcasts
now.
are supposed to this week. These weeks.
Well, you know what's scarier than all these?